Everyone in this town has been exactly where you are right now. There are things you need to know about where you are. This is gonna be the worst night of your life. Do you believe in monsters?
Hey, yo, wait, what the hell? Where'd Brian go? Brian, I kid you not, Brian was just here in the background with me, you know. He was just here, and I guess something must have happened with the PC or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he will be back. What is up, people? Thank you, everybody, for popping in. As you already know, we are here with another episode of From. But before I get into this episode, I really need to talk about something, and kind of with a heavy heart. I want to bring this up real now. So I know a lot of the people that watch me are Americans, but there are some Canadians that watch me. So my friend James, I've known him for a long time. On February the 2nd, we found out that his daughter was missing and they still haven't found her. So she's 16 years old.
Yeah.
A 16-year-old girl is missing in Montreal. She was last seen yesterday at Eaton Center McGill, boarding the metro at 8:30 to head home before curfew. She hasn't been seen since. So I just want to put that out there. You know, if anybody knows any information or anything, you know, even if you can share it. I know you may not be in Montreal or anything like that, but everything helps. You know what I mean? So please make sure to share. And I'll bring this picture up too. Her name is Camila Benjamin, and she's been missing, and family is worried, and my boy is losing his mind. So I definitely appreciate everybody that at least helps and, you know, gives some information whatever they can. So thank you very much, man. It's
That's
I can feel his pain. You know what I mean? I can
that's
feel his pain.
that's like the worst, not my worst nightmare. I couldn't imagine. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, 100%. You know, especially when you have daughters, like when you have a son, it's kind of different. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're still worried about your kids, but a daughter, like that is, and my friend had already lost a child to sickle cell when he was 3 years old. You know what I mean? So now I'm feeling like, bro, even this now to be like have to go through this now, yeah, it's messed up, you know. So I'm praying for her return, and I'm praying for my friend and his family. So
Yeah, you definitely get prayers from here too, because just follow with girls. There's nothing that you can imagine that's worse than that. So
absolutely, 100%. You know, and because she's 16, I think the police have it like she's a runaway. So
mhm.
they're looking for her, but they may not be putting in all
The
the
full
effort that they could be putting in. You know what I mean? And that's a big issue too as well. So thank you, everybody. Just give me a chance to put that out there. I will be talking about it again tomorrow night on the OOC and every chance I get until she is found. I said the only post you're gonna ever see on me on Facebook is a post for her until she's found, because this guy was like my best friend at one point. So
yeah,
James, my heart goes out to you, brother. My heart goes out to you.
yeah, definitely.
But with
Then
that
you
being
then you
said,
kick me off though. Why you kick me off? All of a
no,
sudden
I
I'm
didn't
sitting
kick
there.
you
I'm
off.
like, I was like, all right,
No,
I'm
no, no,
out.
no. Hold on. I just started up the stream, and as soon as the intro went off, I was like, boop, and I was like, wait a minute, where the hell did Brian go? Like he was just here. You know what it is? It's that American computer shit. You know what I mean? Get Canadian, buy Canadian, because that's where it's at right now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what it is. Let's go Canadian.
Definitely. What's
Charge
up,
me
Brian?
5 times as much. That's what's going to happen.
What's that?
You're going to charge me 5 times as much trying to get it with all this tariffs in the United States now.
Oh wait, hold on. You guys started tariff shit, all right? Let's
Yeah,
just be quick about that. But your dollar is still more than us, so even if it's a little bit more expensive, you'll probably still pay less if you go Canadian. You know what I mean? So we
um,
need all the help we can get right now. Trust me, because Trump is on a mission. Anyways, we
oh my,
definitely gonna talk about that tomorrow, because that was a shit show. But tell the people where they can find you, sir.
And 1/3 of Spoiler Kings. We go live Mondays and Thursdays, talking about all the comic book stuff, talking about TV shows. And then on Saturday, we have been breaking down Severance. We're on episode 4 will be the next one. But we enjoy doing those things and talking to our all the people in the comments and everything, and they really are part of the stream. They're our fourth person, really. So yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And make sure to check out the Anthony Mackie video we did over there on the Spoiler Kings. I also did one on my channel too, to get a good perspective of that. Those were two great shows, man. So you guys definitely check them out because they were absolutely great. I'm sorry. All right. So we are here to talk about from episode 7. It's called All Good Things. Brian, your thoughts first off.
First of all, this is one of those episodes that blew your mind when you first saw it. Like you remember all the monsters, all the stuff was going on. It's Fatima's birthday. I mean, or anniversary of being there, and all these things, and you starting to feel for Trudy. You're liking Trudy, and then all this other crap starts going on. So, and then even Tabitha, like she was even a little loving in this episode. A little crazy, but a little bit loving. It was. They shocked me at the end. That's what this was all about.
Yeah, I don't think there was
about Boyd.
What's that?
Father Khatri, Boyd and Father Khatri with all that is too. That was craziness.
You know what? And I love that because this was one of those episodes where it's like, oh, Father Khatri and Boyd are gonna go out and do some, you know what I mean? And then they made sure. But this is another thing why I say that, when people's story arc is kind of done in this show, then they're actually done, right? Because the minute Father Khatri told him about Sara and, we need to talk to Sara, he died. So
yep. He told about how he got there. And it's just the weirdest thing. So that's something I even wrote down. So he said, he's like, yeah, so the Lord, I heard the voice of God told him when he's on the bridge drinking, the voice of God told him, get back in your car and start driving. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up in Fromville. That was a very incomplete, and that doesn't make any sense unless the voices have an outreach.
Absolutely.
They can reach outside Fromville to people. Mm-hmm. And the reason I think about that is because literally what the monster said, what the monster said. She said, we know exactly who you are, Trudy. We know who all of you are. Facts. We know all of your names.
Yeah.
So like that started to make me realize, like, okay, this is more than just a few things. This is a big overall overarching, problem they have, and that they're more connected. This is not just about they're connected to the other world.
And you know what? It's funny. I got the same thing from that too when I watch this episode, because I'm like, we've always talked about, the reincarnation people, right? The people that reincarnated. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But we've also said that there has to be, if not some sort of connection, that the people that are there too, that aren't reincarnated, are there for a reason. And when you hear this about Father Khatri saying he heard the voice of God, and then you had Tabitha who had the visions, and even Boyd's wife had a dream that kind of, and they didn't really get into it, but it kind of reminded her of Fromville. So it seems to me, like we've said many times, that either the boy in white and the man in yellow are manipulating people so much that they're even touching them in the real world, right? It's like Jacob did with In From, where it's like, okay, we're gonna bring these people in here and this and that. And I believe the boy in white, that's kind of his role.
Because you even saw, I don't know, we kind of jumping the gun, but when the monsters broke through the house, Victor got down there, the boy in white was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you knew this was going to happen. You didn't tell nobody.
Absolutely.
I asked him to talk about that, so we'll get to that when we get there.
Absolutely, and that was a good thing too that you brought that up, because Julie didn't see the boy in white. Only Victor did, right?
Yep.
So that's a big thing too as well, right? Because Victor, Ethan, they're the only two that have seen the boy in white. So there's connection there. Who knows? We'll get into that. Did you find anything? Did you think of anything? Because one thing we did talk about was the flowers last week, and I remember when it first, like, who was putting the flowers out there? We found out that these flowers were put out for this girl here, but at the same time, it's like, did he make new flowers? Because you remember Julie brought them in last episode and said they were just out there. And then all of a sudden she comes in there with new flowers again, right? So
So
did he put
in the beginning of the episode, it was different flowers. So I was thinking he was putting flowers all the time.
Yes, yes.
So
Every night.
every year. Yeah, every night he's doing the same thing every day. Yeah.
Simp ass bitch. I'm sorry.
In
But
the bathroom too. Like, hey, dude, really?
but it was still better than what Elgin did. Yes, Elgin slander is coming up again. 100%. He will never get away. He will never get. She ain't here yet, so that's good. But he will never get away with the slander without being slandered. That's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. So of course, we don't really have much in the beginning. We just show. I think they're
Well,
showing
okay.
a. Yeah,
I
go
do
ahead.
have something at the beginning. I do something.
Go ahead. Go
Something
ahead.
like it's real tiny of a detail. It might not mean anything, but for the first time, I realized that the Kramanako was a girl.
Really?
Yeah. So literally said she had
When she's
her
telling the story.
yeah, her adventures
Yeah.
had just begun. So it's like her adventures.
Ah,
I was like, so the Kramanako, who is the hero of that story, is a girl the entire
ooh,
time.
I didn't catch that. Interesting. So
Yeah.
obviously,
It's,
the hero of this story is going to be a girl. Now the
Mhm.
question is, who is the Kramanako? I think it's Julie.
I think it's Julie too. And
Yeah.
I have further evidence in this episode that it is Julie.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that too as well. You know what I mean? So definitely. So Ethan, I keep saying Ethan. God damn it. Ellis is drinking. I think this is kind of established that Ellis was a little bit of an alcoholic. You know what I mean? And it
Drinking to
had
try
to,
to get his problems away. I mean,
yeah, yeah, from what happened with his mom and everything, because of course, obviously, he's still having issues with that by this time in the show. So yeah, I think they're establishing that he is an alcoholic, and I think this event changed all of that because they don't really go back to him drinking after that. You know what I mean?
never again. He's like, I can't do this again. No, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny though, because when you watch it back, I'm still trying. I know we figured out the Fatima when she was pregnant and stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
still kind of looking to see if maybe there was something else, maybe a
I've been
hint
looking at it the
to
whole
as
time,
to why she was the one that was chosen.
and I have something with that too.
Ooh, Brian is on point tonight. 'Cause I'm sitting there looking for these things, and you got the answer, so that's great. So let's do it. What do you got?
So when everyone's celebrating Fatima and they're in the house and Donna's speaking to her, right? And then she
Mm-hmm.
gives her a gift.
Mm-hmm.
What was the gift?
It
It
was
was
the
a
yeah,
dream catcher.
yeah.
And then she says, I hope
Ooh,
all your dreams come true, like in that type of point. Well, this is from,
ooh.
right? So now it puts a spotlight on Fatima.
And what
And
would
then
have been one of
at
her
night
dreams?
was her biggest nightmare was Ellis being
Yeah.
hurt and her being trapped in there with monsters and seeing her people she loves being torn up right in front of her face on the day that she was being celebrated on her anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So now
Ooh, I like that.
this is upside down, right? So now her dream, now her biggest nightmare, and the focus is now on her. That's why I think they kind of chose Fatima.
And it's funny too, because now that you say that, the dream catcher and stuff, right? You would think that one of her biggest dreams would be able to have a child with
What
Ellis.
Ellis? Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and Fromville, we already know they kind of hinted that it manifests your fears and stuff like that. And I believe that they might go that way with it, right? Where it kind of manifests some of your fears. If that's the case, maybe it kind of manifests some of your wants too. You know what I mean? Fromville style, though,
It's
of
like
course.
that's her dream though. Like, that's one. It's a dream catcher, and exactly your fears, your nightmares are enhanced, and they use that as part of the monsters, right? And that's when
Hmm.
you see all the things that you fears is there. So I'm just saying that's why I think it's happening.
That makes a lot of sense, bro. Now we have Donna and Ellis talking. Well, so first off, the this is when we find out that there's no more peaches. And
Mhm.
he says something to me that was kind of, he was like, there has never been a time, like this is the first time that we ever ran out of peaches.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now I know it may seem like, oh well, peaches, but things are happening for the first time, and I guess running out of the peaches could be significant to something, like maybe running out of hope. You know what I mean? Because
Well, it's just
Victor,
things are changing because I mean, once again, Julie, when she after she makes her advance at Fatima, right?
uh-huh,
She gets turned down. She runs to Victor's room.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, once again, she ran to Victor's room, and when she was there, um, it was just how do I put it? It seemed like he knew, like she talked about the two cars. Once again, what happened when the two cars happened the last time?
mm-hmm,
What occurred when the last time,
mm-hmm,
and Victor refused to speak on it, right?
yeah,
Well, one of the things we kind of know is because that's where everyone died. Well,
mm-hmm,
he doesn't want to tell her that though.
right,
So I don't know if it's changing. This is the last time they had peaches. Last time since the change, he wouldn't have been old enough to even figure that out.
true,
Is
very
that what's
true.
going on, or is it just like this happens every cycle, or what? Yeah.
And that's a good question because, like you said, he didn't want to tell her what happened. And I think we're going to get maybe a flashback to that first time the two cars came in and Victor was young. I
Mhm.
think that they're going to do that because it'll give us kind of an explanation as to, oh, this is why having two cars is so significant, because we just know that it's the beginning of something, right?
Mhm.
But when the first two cars came, was it a version of Tabitha? Was it a version of Christopher
Yeah.
at the
Was it
same time?
Christopher? Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if that's the case, then
Was it
we'll
Christopher and
know.
Miranda? Is it every
Yeah,
single time? Is it Christopher and Miranda?
and Miranda, exactly, exactly. And that would also maybe try to tie into original Tabitha and Jade, right?
Mhm.
Prime Tabitha and Jade. Now, they probably,
They
maybe
wouldn't have
that's how
cars.
they,
This is
no, no,
1500s.
no, they wouldn't have cars, but maybe that signifies their first meeting in the prime, right? Maybe they didn't know each other and Jade came in or Tabitha came in and that's when they met. So those two cars meeting could signify the first time they've ever met and fell
Yeah,
in love,
that's actually a
right?
really good point. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Hmm.
Makes sense.
Actually, I just thought about that, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. It's not like
I
this
like
on
that.
that popped in, but it just came in because that makes sense, right? That
Mm,
every time the two cars come in, it's a version of Tabitha, it's a version of Christopher.
mhm.
And when
Or
we see
Jade.
the original timeline,
Yep.
you'll see that they fell in love and whatever, the first
And then
time they met.
everything kind of started with the kids and
With the, yeah,
all the
exactly.
siblings. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because they would have had to fall in love, had a daughter and a child and stuff like that. And we may find out that there was a third child that died. I don't think it may have happened in every reincarnation, but it
Mhm.
could have happened in the original reincarnation. You know what I mean? Because I think that Thomas means something.
Signifies something.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, 100%. 100%. So that will definitely be interesting if that was the case. Huh, never thought about that. It's good. You see, that's why I like coming on here and doing this because you always trigger my mind into something, and it's something I haven't thought about. And then I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. And then when you put it together, it definitely makes sense. So now we get to my boy, and I'm just gonna call him. Well, we're not simple. Oh, here's the story.
Here
The
it
yeah,
is.
can't play it. Unfortunately, I can't
She
even
made it right
freaking.
there. Right there, we said she. Right there, it says she made.
There was still, hold on, let's see. Oh, yeah, there you go. Of
Mhm.
all the new wondrous
All these
friends
friends
she
she made.
had made.
The
Ooh,
Ramanako is a girl. So the
absolutely.
hero of his story is a female, which just once again another reason why I think Julie is that.
I agree. I don't think it's Tabitha. I don't think Tabitha is the hero. I think Tabitha has a role to play, but
Mhm.
the hero, and I think with Ethan's stories, he kind of confirms that it's going to be Julie that's the hero of the story. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? It's going to be Julie. And now that we know that she can story walk, she can go back in time and stuff, it makes sense that it's her. You know what I mean? Out of everybody else, it makes sense.
But every episode, I see little breadcrumbs to letting us know that Julie's special. There's
Yeah,
something about Julie that's different than everybody else.
absolutely. Now,
Mm.
I wondered if it was just something they did, but her asking Fatima to kiss, do you think there was something to that? Hey, Nikisha, how you doing?
Good evening, Akeisha. Good, she missed
You,
it.
you, you missed the Elgin slander. We started already. It'll probably come back around though. Don't worry about that.
There's no reason. It's literally episode 7. He's nowhere thinking about us.
Yeah, I'm still gonna trash him though. I'm still trashing him. Screw that. Yeah. So, do you think there was anything to that? Because they don't really go back to that. You know what I mean?
I just think that she was a 15, 16-year-old girl,
Curious.
confused, and curious
Hmm.
with everything else, seeing what's going on um, with in his house, and she was
Hmm.
testing her boundaries, what she's comfortable with, and she admires, Fatima. So like that's one thing, and she thinks she's beautiful. So how much do you think, that is it sexual? Is it not? So she went outside her comfort zone, and unfortunately got shot down because you're
Yep.
like a kid, and that doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, I guess with all the sexual stuff in the colony house, that is no place for a 15-year-old girl. You know what
No,
I mean? A 15-year-old kid in general, that's just no place for them, you know? So yeah, I'm right there with you. I just thought it was weird that they did do that in this, but I think maybe it was just to show that, progression. She was immature when she first came in there. She was young,
Mhm.
and as the seasons go on, she gets a little bit older and a little bit more smarter, So
I agree. Yeah,
100%. But I definitely like that catch though that the Kramanako is a female. I like that. I like that. There was
still,
still more yet to come.
yep.
Yeah.
So this
You
is just
know,
the
and
beginning, and it just kind of
y-
highlights that this is just the
yes,
beginning.
yes, 100%. There may be some stuff to those Kramanako stories, and we don't get much of them, but I think they give us little hints and clues as to what's actually going on. You know what I mean? Like you
Exactly.
said, the Carminaco's a female, and
Mhm.
then there's still yet more to come. And we
Yep.
already know that we haven't even touched the surface of what's going on in this show yet. So there's definitely more to come. What else do we got here? Skip through. He goes to bed. Uh, we have Father Khatri going to see Boyd. Now, this conversation is very interesting. I know you had some stuff to say about it, so go ahead.
No, I just thought that it was interesting how they were talking, and then how it really was the wrap up of everything that was going on with Father Khatri. And then when he goes inside, they're talking about everything, and Father Khatri opens up at how the little boy who's he didn't protect, he felt like he let him down, and then
Hmm.
he goes through, he basically killed the man, the boy's father. He killed him,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And then he's sitting there drinking, standing on the bridge, and it's the first time in his life he heard the voice of God. Now,
Hmm.
he's a father, he's a priest, and it's the first time he hears the voice of God.
Hmm.
This voice of God tells him to get back in his car while he's been drinking and drive over to wherever he's going. He drove 2 hours and ended up in Frontville. He didn't say
Hmm.
anything about tree.
Facts.
He didn't say anything about got stopped. I didn't get stuck. He didn't talk about any of that. So that made me wonder: is something going on with Father Khatri? Was he a plant? Was that intentional that he got scratched and killed? What is going
Ooh,
on with him?
yeah. I agree with you because even after he died, like he started
Showing up all
showing
the
up to Boyd. You know what I mean?
time.
And
Hmm.
I think he was the first was he the first one that we actually seen speak like to Boyd? I think he was. I'm not sure.
The boy,
Um,
probably.
right, right. But did we see any other visions like when before
I,
he came? That's
just
what I
Jade.
don't remember.
Just Jade, right? I mean, Jade had
Oh yeah, the visions, right, right.
yeah. So yeah, he had that even episode 5 he and 6 he did.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He had the vision. But Father Khatri is the first, I would say, ghost that actually came back and spoke to somebody, though, like he
Mhm.
says. So I agree with you on that one. Also, like you said, it's only after he killed somebody that he heard the voice of God. So
Yep.
it shows me that he probably wasn't broken yet. And then the minute he was broken, it was easier for the town to send that message because
Mhm.
I guarantee you it wasn't the voice of God. And I said
It's
it
the town
earlier.
speaking
Yeah,
out into the real world. Their
yeah.
reach to the real world is a lot deeper. So then that makes you think about Tabitha
Hmm.
when she went to the real world.
Hmm.
Was it their reach that brought back, Henry? Is that was what really actually happened? Or did they do it
You
on
know,
purpose?
I 100% think they did. And I think we'll find out a little bit more as to Henry's purpose because I don't think his purposes has been either shown or it's not there yet, right? Because of course the Victor aspect of it to be the anchor for Victor and stuff like that, I see that. But I think there might be a little bit more to him than that.
Mm.
And Nakisha said, I don't think Tabitha was in the real world. You know, I've heard that a lot and I said that a lot too. But then
But that means
if
Henry
what
wasn't there.
and yeah, Henry wasn't in the real world either. You know what I mean? So then where was Henry? Right? I don't know. It's just I could see it. I could see exactly what you mean by that, but I
Hmm.
still have questions about it. You know what I mean? I would still be like, then where did Henry come from? You know, because the priest knew about her before. She didn't even tell the priest. The priest knew she had kids or something like that, right?
Hmm.
So it would make sense that either the priest has been hearing things from Fromville, or she wasn't actually in the real world, which would make sense.
That they'll know something. But I mean, are we going to find out that Henry wasn't really there? That Henry actually died? Is that possible?
Ooh,
He's already dead. This is all a setup, or maybe has something more to do with Victor.
yeah, yeah, it definitely has something to do with Victor, right? Because I always think that Victor was pretty much, I guess, the one that got away, the one that survived. And I think Ethan is in that same kind of, is going to take the same path that Victor had to take. So, because it seems like this is it's a pattern through every reincarnation. That's what I'm getting from rewatching these episodes, right? And knowing what I know, it
Hmm.
seems like it's a reoccurring pattern, and it's possible that they've gotten further every time there was a different reincarnation. So that would definitely make sense.
But does that mean Acosta was already? Is she the plant too? Like she also came from the real world with Tabitha. Maybe
Yeah.
she's. So I'm just saying, like,
Hmm.
how deep does this rabbit hole go?
I'm right there with you. I wouldn't necessarily say plant, but I think that more the boy in white than the man in yellow is bringing people here, right? It's like, maybe because she did see the boy in white in the real world.
Hmm.
She's seen him in the real world. So I think it's the boy in white that's actually manipulating things to bring people in there. Now you bring in an Acosta who's there to cause dissension, but I think that dissension needs to happen before everybody comes together.
Or it could just be a giant guest a game of chess.
Yeah, pretty much.
The
Yeah,
boy in white has his pieces and he moves, and then he was playing, and then now the man in yellow says, "Okay, now it's time for me to make my big move."
100%. I agree with you 100%. I do think it's pretty much both those two entities are actually playing chess with people's lives. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And the main goal is to one, I think the man in yellow is to kill the boy in white, and the boy in white is to finally stop the man in yellow. So it's very interesting. She said, I haven't worked out all the details. Tabitha also called her mom. That goes against my theory as well. Yeah, exactly, right? And she called her mom, didn't give her mom any information, to be honest with you. So it kind of does, but they could probably write it in a way that it would make sense if that were the case, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Said, I think it's kind of coincidence that Acosta was the same cop that went to the hospital to see Tabitha and then was at the stage crash site. Yeah, yeah,
That
100%.
I don't find, because you know what? When you have a rookie that don't know nothing, they're
Hmm.
gonna follow that one case they got,
Yeah,
and that's what they got. Acosta someone who just don't know nothing. So like she's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
follow it all the way through. She does too much.
And usually, if they put one cop on a case, it continues to be that cop. You know what I mean? So, like, let's say they said, okay, we have this accident. You need to go check it out. They send to Costa. Then Costa will be the one that everybody reports to. Or if you have
Mhm.
any information, you call to Acosta. So, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So Boyd is telling Father Khatri that he's going to go out into the woods, and Father Khatri that he's going to go out into the woods, that he was going to talk about it, and that's where Father Khatri says, well, we got to talk, and then tells him about, um
The candy bar and the boy.
exactly, yes, 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 yes. And then we got Tabitha, and
And
they're
Jim.
trying, yeah,
Once
that's trying
again,
to.
look, it's so weird because like they actually were loving. She was touching him, holding him, giving him a kiss. Like they were so loving this episode. So I should have known this was probably like the last time they're gonna get this. Because it's just what happens, man. And I hated them so much less. They're talking about, man, it's hard for me to not keep my eyes on my kids. Like you're saying all the right things. So all the stuff I've been saying, the slander I say about them, didn't come up in this episode.
You know what's funny? I was right there with you when I saw that. It's like, oh, it's hard not to take your eye off of him. And I'm like, bitch, you've been taking your eyes off of him after this episode. Like, you didn't give a shit after this one. So maybe I guess it wore off real quick, right? Because
Well, think about it. In the episode before, episode 6, it was all about Julie saying, "Yeah, I know about the divorce. I know about all of the stuff." And
hmm
you have 2 kids that are right here, but you're still talking about, I know he died. He's my brother, but you still sitting there talking about him. I don't
yeah,
understand what's happening. We're still here. You're living in the past. You're living for him. Why don't you love us? So
yeah,
now all of a sudden, now she can't hold on to Julie, so she's gonna hold on to Ethan. And
facts.
they're both trying to use it as a crutch. I feel like, and that's why there's so many things that are unsaid, but you can fall into this lull of love, and we're both trying to hide in this place instead of
hmm
facing it head on.
Absolutely, 100%. And I was right there with you. I was good to see the little connection that they had, and it felt like, you know, it actually felt like in this episode that they wanted to be together.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that they were having issues, but they were still trying to work it out. But after this episode, shit just hits the fan, and it just feels like Tabitha didn't want Jim anymore. But it
Jim,
was
you should have ran, bro. You should have ran the other way.
facts.
You might still be alive today.
But that we came back to this episode and that you brought it up, it kind of, I think, foreshadowing of how Tabitha is going to feel going forward, right? I think they're actually showing here that even though they've had their issues and they went through, and I think they did it on purpose to have them fight a lot so people would forget that Tabitha really actually does love Jim.
When she gets
And
out
that,
the way, she is in love with Jim. There's
yes,
a different type of love,
yes,
because we see even with Miranda and Henry, like there was a problem there. She left like all this stuff. All that was an issue. He didn't
hmm,
believe her. He didn't support her. Though Jim was a pain in the butt, he didn't always want to support her. That love there was obviously there.
absolutely,
And she might be
100%.
lost. She might be
Yes,
really lost at the beginning of
yes.
next season.
I agree. I think, ooh, now we cooking. So we get to the stuff where we think that Jade is not going to be that good guy. it could be possibly because Tabitha, at the
Pushes him
end of
away.
the day, yeah, just doesn't give a fuck anymore, right?
Mhm.
I just lost my husband. I don't care. And then he tried to warn us not to play the song. I listened to you
You.
and not to him, right? Which is going to cause problems, which will probably bring the boy in white to Jade to be like, listen, you have to do this now, right? If Tabitha's not going to do it, you have to do it. And Jade's going to be like, nah, you know what I mean? Everything's a lie, right? We thought we were doing the right thing because it may break Jade too,
I'm
right?
telling you, Jay's going to end up on the bad side again. I think that it's going. They're going to tell him. Both maybe it's the boy in white and the man in yellow. Tell him, hey, you do what I tell you to do,
Hmm.
and you get out.
I agree. I
I
agree.
guarantee your safety, and you get out.
I agree 100%. It kind of makes sense, because we can't just go from what happened to everything being hunky dory and them still trying to work on what they were doing, right?
Mhm.
It's gonna break them. And again, it comes to this town giving you a little bit of hope and then taking it from you. And that's exactly what they did by killing Jim. They gave them hope. The Cooey kids came, and then boom, the man in yellow came right away and killed Jim.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's going to be very interesting to see how they go forward with that. So they're talking about Donna. They're talking about the
The tower,
signal.
the signal, trying to build that giant antenna.
Hmm. Now, this too, when we talk about the antenna, we already know what happens, right? They do the antenna, voice comes on and says, "Why is your wife digging the hole?" and stuff like that. Um, this antenna, though, do you think it would have been able to get a signal out? Because I think it was just in vain. I really don't think that they were ever going to be able to use this tower to get a signal out.
I think it's interesting. I don't know the answer, but I also think that Jim would have scrapped the idea if it wasn't
Hmm.
for Tabitha to pushing him. And at the time, I'm just thinking that it's a wife supporting her husband. You
Hmm.
have great idea, run after it, go after it. But when you look back at it, well, none of this stuff would have happened. He talked himself out of it, like, yeah, I'm not going to use all the town's resources to do this stuff that probably won't work. So I'm just going to leave it alone. We'll do something else. And she
Hmm.
pushed him to do it. So everything that she pushed him to do puts him in more danger. I just think
Facts.
Tabitha might be a bad luck charm or something. Like, this something to do with us. Bad luck is following her no matter what.
Absolutely. And you know what? Because I said earlier that I think every reincarnation gets further and further, they probably never got to this again. So if it doesn't work, they could actually now leave messages to the
Mm.
next reincarnation, like not just these freaking musical note shit, like actual messages in those bottles to actually tell them what to do and what not to do. Either that, or one of them is going to be stuck there for like Julie, maybe because Miranda, not Miranda, Eloise,
Luis is here.
if she's still dream walking, she went from one reincarnation to another. So if I think Julie is following that case, it's very possible that Julie may be the one that's stuck in this town as right. You have Ethan, who's the boy who comes out of it, but Julie is the one who's stuck in this town as a story walker. So she may also be the one to be able to cross over through reincarnations, right? When the
Mm.
next reincarnation comes, she's
She'll
like an
still
old
be there.
woman. She's still be an old woman walking around, and maybe she can help them to do it. It's crazy the things that they could do with this show right now. You know what I mean? Because again, I still don't think it's going to end with a happy ending. I just don't see it.
I think it's gonna be ambiguous.
It could be 100%. You know, definitely open ended, right? Definitely open ended to where it's like, this is what happens. This is the end of this story, but there's possibly other stories to tell. You know what I mean? Other reincarnations to tell. So
I can
that's
see a
definitely
cicada fly over the camera, right in front of the camera. Even you think it's a happy ending.
facts. Facts. Say, nope, it's definitely not. Nikisha said, Julie's definitely going to get stuck because last season Tabitha told Julie that she'd never be alone. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you, and I do think that she's going to be the one. So I
She's
think
the Kramanako. There's no doubt in my mind.
yeah,
She's the
yeah, 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 100%. So was Eloise the Carmichael in the original story then? Must have been, right? And I think it's
I don't
maybe
know
a
if they had the
possibility.
Kramanako, so they didn't have it yet. So it took Ethan and his story and his storybooks that he loved to be that manifestation of something that their dream, their nightmares, all that stuff. Once
That
again,
makes sense.
took Ethan.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also think that I Eloise might not show up to anybody else, but I think Julie may meet up with her,
Yeah.
right? Julie may have a conversation with her, or maybe she ends up seeing her before she dies, and she explains everything to Julie. We may not see Eloise, but the town may not see Eloise, but I think Julie will, because I do
Eloise is
think
probably going to
Eloise
one that's
will.
going to explain things to Julie.
Yes,
What's going on? She's going
yes,
to find herself back in this tower in this dungeon, and she's going to see a person. She's going like, "Hello," and you're going to find out it's Eloise, and she's been going through this point in time. She thinks this is her point in time that she has to fix, and she's going to tell Julie how to go back in that point in time and try to fix it. And that's what's going
absolutely.
to push her towards going to find Jim.
Absolutely. And you said we wanted to, I'm just gonna play it because I'm not like
No, I mean, you
it's
don't have to.
not
See, like
it,
it's just a dream catcher. Just go ahead. You don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
do it.
it's not like these streams make me a crazy amount of money anyway. So I
Yeah,
just don't want it to get
you don't
blocked.
want it to be
That's the only
blocked. So that's
thing.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So just this
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah, yeah. So to
go more.
celebrate the anniversary, hold on, boom. She gave it
Talking
to her
about how
already.
much you got the good weed.
Facts,
And
facts, facts.
there's the
Uh,
dream catcher.
Damn it. There it is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Tell them that just came in about your theory about the dream catcher.
So because Anzo was asking me basically why do we think that Tabitha was chosen, and I mean because she's just one of anyone else that's out there. Well,
Right.
this dream catcher, she literally says this is supposed to catch your dreams. Hopefully, you only get the good dreams. You only get the good dreams. But this is from right and from
Hmm.
your nightmares are the things that really stands out. So this makes me believe that because she got this dream catcher, everything kind of happened. You know, like
Hmm.
all there, she was chosen because of the dream catcher. It kind of put a spotlight on her and her nightmares. What's her greatest fear, her greatest nightmare? Probably what happens this night on her anniversary. It's the worst dream she could ever happen. Her and
Hmm.
Ellis are stuck, you know, trying to get away from these monsters that are chasing her and killing everyone around her on the day that's supposed to be celebrated on about her. That's her greatest nightmare. And your nightmares seem to manifest in Fromville, right? That's
Hmm.
telling you this dream catcher, all this stuff, you add it all up. That's why she was chosen.
And it makes a lot of sense because you could have given her any other gift, but you gave her a dream catcher, right?
Mhm.
Especially in Fromville. And like you said, I think, one of her I would think this is just my opinion, but I would think one of her dreams would be to have had a child with Ellis, right? She already knew she couldn't have a child, and it was like, man, I really wish I could give him a child. And then all of a sudden, she ends up getting pregnant, right? Manifested her
Just living a
dream.
dream and
Yeah,
turning that
yeah,
dream into a nightmare.
absolutely, 100%. 100%. So that makes a lot of sense to me as to why she would be chosen because we already know when it happened, right? Like once we saw that, we knew it was the minute Smiley died, it was around that time, right? Right
Mhm.
away, she started feeling pregnant. So it would make a lot of sense that it would make a lot of sense that this would be the start of it. You know what I mean? This would be what put the bullseye on her back, as to say. That's interesting and it makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It makes sense. That's like Brian always cooking with these things. Sometimes it's like with what he says, but he's been on point. He's definitely been on point. So we get to see Fatima doing her little kissy thing with the girl, and Julie is there watching. And
Yeah.
I
Oh,
guess,
I want to do that too. That looks interesting. She's interested in it. That's all it is.
yeah,
It's just she's wondering, and you're searching for your sexuality. You're at an
yeah,
age where you're not sure how things are going.
yeah,
So for her, that was her rebellious type of reaching out type of thing.
absolutely, 100%. And I do think, again, being in Colony House with all the sexual stuff going on there, teen, male or female, that is not the place for a child. It's just not. So she should have never been there. We also have Boyd and Father Khatri. They're having the conversation, and this is when he's talking about how he buried the bag, and he's
Mhm.
telling his story, right? Um, Boyd sees the bloody clothes and pretty much freaks out. So yeah, so we get Father Khatri's story, and I think
It's
this
so funny
story,
because the first thing that he tells him is that he says I got Sarah tied up in my basement, and then Boyd takes out his gun, and takes the safety off.
yeah, for real,
That's the first thing he does.
for real,
You got
for
what?
real,
You gonna shoot me? He's like, I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
yeah. Lakeisha said, I had a theory that Fatima was chosen because she couldn't get pregnant instead of despite it. Like maybe they needed a barren womb to birth a creature. It's possible. That could definitely be a possibility, right? And
Also could be
again,
the reason why she was chosen.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Which would also go into, her dreaming of having a child with Ellis, you know what I mean? And it being manifested in the town. And the fact that she couldn't, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that that would happen. So, yeah, it's talking about, the parents and the kid. He starts crying. He says it was a little boy. Let's see here. But,
It was the way he said it. Sounded indignant.
so we get the part where he says here, smashing his face as hard as I could.
Mhm. So I kept on
It's
punching him until I felt my hands, bones in my hands
both
break.
hands break. Yeah. So it's obviously that he possibly killed this guy. That's why he was on the run, right?
Mhm.
And then the minute he was broken, he heard the voice of God that told him to continue to drive, right? Which would be the boy in white to me, telling him, "Hey, drive. You have bigger things than what you're planning on doing right now." You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
he could have been thinking about taking his own life after that, especially as a priest
Could have
doing
been
something
jumping.
like that.
This is the bridge. You could have
Yeah,
been ready to jump, ready to commit
absolutely.
suicide with it, which is a sin that you not supposed. As a Catholic, you're not supposed to go to heaven because of it.
Absolutely. That I heard the voice of God, right? So that's what he says. This is why you're telling me this now. Look, I've always known there was a reason we were here. Tell me your motherfucking. Oh, then he tells him about Sarah. He says, tell me you're motherfucking joking. But that's the thing, right? There is a reason why they were there. And this is where he started to get into Sarah is hearing voices. I heard the voice of God. So he may be thinking that Sarah's kind of hearing the voice of God,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Instead of realizing that it may be something else. But that's where I think he's going with this. It's like that's why Sarah is so important because she's hearing the voice of God,
She
which
might be a
again,
prophet. She might be a prophet of the Lord.
right, right, which to me is again the boy in white manipulating things to get things the process to get going. You know what I mean? Hey,
Mhm.
let's do this because it's not the voice of God Sarah was hearing, but we need Sarah to go on this journey with Boyd, right? So I definitely believe that was the case with that.
And he
Now
said,
you
"Put
just
his
tell
gun
me
on him."
keep talking, yeah. And now we got Mr.
Oh,
Simp.
dummy, dummy, dummy. All right.
Still not as bad as Elgin. I'm just
All
saying.
right. So did we pass the part where Jade no, he still hasn't found the extra page in the book.
No, he hasn't found
I
it
didn't
yet.
found
He
it yet.
hasn't found it. Yeah, yeah. It's when they're at the dinner table, I believe. So it's coming up. So now she's basically, and that's another thing about
Playing
this show.
the hell out of him.
Yes, yes. And it's manipulation, right? She's like, "Oh, I gotta leave. I'm never gonna see you again." So it's showing you that not, especially when we have the Father Khatri story, it's not just manipulating, the people, like the boy and white. Everything is manipulating everybody. Everybody's manipulating everybody. Said I need to leave while y'all talk about Sarah. Every time I hear her name, my blood pressure goes up. Well, you know what I mean? I get it. I know why. I know why. You didn't like what she did to our boy there, Elgin, but he deserved it. She was a bad man. She was definitely a bad man in that situation.
I don't know if he deserved it, but yeah, he's not coming to my cookout. That's all.
At all. At all. So she says goodbye, Kevin. Kevin says, "No, wait, don't
Did she
go."
lie though? She was like, "I never get to feel you," and she insinuated it was sexual, but
Yeah, yeah.
it could have been a little bit more than that. While he's trying to put his tongue down her throat, she's trying to bite the tongue out of his mouth. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like,
100%.
she wanted to
100%.
feel,
His
his
organs.
blood right
Yeah.
down from
Hmm.
the side of her mouth.
That's exactly what she wants to. Now, it's funny though, and we'll get to it in a bit because there was something that I noticed, which I thought was very, very interesting. Okay. So we find out they go through this Ellis stuff. This is Dale being a dick, of course. Hey, I miss Dale sometimes. You know what I mean? Dale, Dale was on point. Dale was like, yeah, maybe he'll shoot up the place like his mom. You
Dude, if he
know?
would have said that, there's nothing that anyone would have been able to say to me. I would have broke his neck.
Oh yeah,
I
one
would've broke
hundred
his neck
percent.
right there.
Oh, one
Just
hundred percent.
like
100%.
putting me in the box, huh?
Fatima wouldn't even have been able to hold me back at that point. I was like, "What did you say? Snap!" So yeah, but Donna ended up knocking him out, so that was good. So now we have simp number one here. He lets her in, and
She slow played it too. Like she didn't like do anything.
yeah,
Slow played it.
yeah, yeah,
He knew what he was doing. He ain't try to put any clothes on. He ain't no underwear on. He was ready. He was ready to
bruh,
go.
bruh. She tells him, I was not always like this. Now
Yes.
we know what she
She
was
didn't
like.
lie.
You know what I mean? Yeah, she didn't lie. So I think that was a hint to what we saw earlier, of course. So it's nothing really to get there. And the funny part about it is, though, after all of this, right? She bites out his tongue. She does her thing. Here's the book part, though. I'll get back to that in a second. Okay, not the book part. Fatima with her, what's her name again? Trudy.
Yeah.
Fatima and Trudy giving her the stuff, and they're having a nice conversation. That's when Julie comes in, begging for the kiss. She said no. She runs off, and then we got more Father Khatri and Boyd talking. And this boy was like, "Well, if she says anything or she even looks at me funny, I'm going to kill her." But you see, what I noticed about this scene too, and I think I kind of forgot it, is that it wasn't just Father Khatri telling him to take Sarah. It's like all three of us are gonna
All of
go.
us are going. We're going together. Mm-hmm.
Right. All three of us
Providence.
are gonna go. Right. And he was like, what did he say? A priest, a black man, and a crazy woman, or something
He
like
said
that, walk
he's a
into a bar.
sheriff and a crazy lady going
Yeah,
to a
walk
bar.
into a bar.
And he was like, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So he shows him about the thing, and he's telling her, see, and that's again. Now, Nakisha, you're gonna love this part because I get it. Everybody in this town that has heard voices think that the town is trying to help them
Mm-hmm.
because Boyd asked him, and you think that this thing is trying to help us? Father Khatri says yes, right? Elgin thought the kimono lady was trying to help.
I don't
Sarah
understand that
thought the
still.
voice, yeah, me neither.
See her face, man. See her
Yeah, yeah,
face.
100%. 100%. Sarah thought the voices that she was hearing was trying to help. So there's this theme of the people in this town really thinking that the only person that didn't was Randall.
Yeah.
Randall was the only one that said, listen, nothing in this town is trying to help us. You know what I mean?
Randall
So
tried to shock his own face.
facts, facts. to get rid of the sounds, right? So that's why I say, even though the boy in white may not be bad, I think the boy in white doesn't really care about
Mm.
what happens to the people in the town, as long as they're able to kill or stop the man in yellow, which will stop this whole reincarnation thing from looping over and over again, you know? Maybe he's trapped there because we already know Sarah said she don't think it's a boy. I don't think it's a boy either. I think it's just shows up as a boy because it's less intimidating. You know what I mean? You're going to be more trustworthy of a little boy than you were with a big grown ass man coming in there, you know? And that could be because when you see the pictures, one of the pictures shows the boy in white looks like he's a man. So we could get to a point where we see that it has been a man, but people were scared or skeptical. So he decided, a more unintimidating look would be to come in as a little boy. What do you think?
I mean, that's exactly, he's trying to gain your trust, and that's also made me think. Okay, so what is it? What's the connection between him and the man in yellow? And I was thinking, is it possible that they're brothers? Could they be the physical manifestation of Michael and Lucifer? Could that be what's going on? Um, I wouldn't be surprised because, and once again, because it's not that you're good or bad, it's the fact that you don't hold human life to the highest regard. You feel like you've seen it come and go as much as you have. So it's not that Michael is bad or the boy in white is bad. He's just doesn't hold human life to the same level as actually humans do. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking possibly could it be the idea of Michael and Lucifer?
Ooh, that's good. I like that. I like them being brothers. I really do. It would make sense, one good, one bad. Plus,
Mhm.
it's a trope we've seen so many times before. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So it would definitely make sense that one would be good and one would be bad, and a brothers type of thing. Ooh, but that's a last thing.
But it is a lost thing, and this is also a very biblical thing. But this is like a revelations type of
Yes.
show, so that's
Hmm.
why I feel like no matter what, you have these undertones, you have these biblical undertones, no matter what. Father Khatri, what he's saying, speaking to God, like there's a lot going on here, and I feel like the biblical part of it can't be ignored.
No, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%, which would make sense, right? Because why would they both be trapped in that town? Why would the little boy be trapped in that town, right? It's because they are brothers, right? And one is there to protect, and the other one is there to destroy. And the boy in white is there to stop the man from destroying it. And I think we said it last week about the Garden of
Mhm.
Eden stuff. The town is like, I guess you would say, the court that was keeping all the evil in check. The boy in white is the one who's the guardian, the watcher of that court to keep the evil from spilling out into the real world. Ooh, that makes
And,
so much
and,
sense.
and once again, once he thought it was the voice of God, but the devil can reach out into the world, but he can't step on it. He can't run it. He can't live it. This is his opportunity to be able to get through
Yes,
to the real world, but he has to
yes,
be able to win this part first.
absolutely. And the fact that it's now that he was released from wherever it was, because we still don't know. I still think
He could be in the
they
cage.
trapped him some.
He,
Yeah,
he could have been
yes,
stuck in the cage, and
yeah,
now
yeah.
once you play the music,
Yes,
you unlock the cage.
yes, 100%. I do 100% think he was trapped. I don't think it was just he was hiding all this time. He was definitely trapped somewhere. And then when that music played, it released that trap. So now it's his chance. It's like, I need to make sure that the boy in white dies or whatever he needs to do, you know what I mean? Gets done so that he can come into this world. I agree.
Like the portal closes. Like he wants, and
Mhm.
Manio wants to know what's the portal to the real world. The reason why the boy White's not leaving is because his job is to be guarding of it.
Absolutely. Right? And he says something here which is like, everything is not a coincidence. 100%. Even the shit that we have went back in this show to try and dissect and everything, nothing is a coincidence. That's what they're telling us right here. So, we coming up with these theories. They may some feel far off, some of them may be on point, but it's at the point where nothing is coincidence. So
It almost
people
seems like more of that stuff happens to the further crazy your idea, the more it actually
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah, for real, 100%. So bringing Henry back is not a coincidence. Bringing Acosta in there was not a coincidence. Tabitha leaving and getting into the real world was not a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is being planned out to do, go the way it's supposed to go. Very, very interesting thought. Um, so we use our connections to our advantage. So now here's the part where we were talking about where they're digging a hole and he gives her a massage and he's kissing her neck and like I was gonna say it when she made that oath sound.
Yeah, I was like, it's about to go down.
You know what I mean?
We all gotta get up and leave, guys. It's about to
You
go
know
down.
what I mean?
You
That
know,
wasn't just that wasn't oh touch my vagina type of oh sound. You know what I mean? Stay off of my shoulders and put your hands there on my vagina. Like oh, like
he held her stomach, right? And then she put her hand over him, like to hold me, right? That's what that's
yeah,
so that's why I thought something's about to go down.
facts, 100%. You know what I mean? It's like oh, and then he's massaging her, he's kissing her neck, he's hugging her, which kind of like you said, she was reciprocating too, right? She's
Mhm.
holding his hand, so I think this is foreshadowing that she's gonna be broken when she finds out that Jim is dead next season, right? And it's that is going to be a huge thing going into next season, a huge thing, guaranteed.
No, I agree. I think it's gonna really be a problem. Why the hell did she wash her hands?
So that's one thing that I noticed, right? And another thing that I noticed, and they show it when they kill what's her name? Tilly or whatever that
Trudy,
chick's name is.
Trudy.
Trudy, yeah.
Mm.
So the first off is the look in the mirror. I kind of get the vibe that she doesn't want to do what she's doing. I don't know. It just seems like she's looking at herself, and it's like, especially when she said, "I was never like this," and now she's looking at herself, and it looks to me like I don't want to do this. I'm
Well, she's
forced to do it
disappointed in
because of what
herself.
happened. Yeah, right. I'm forced to do it because of what happened. Which shows me that I think Smiley's the one that gets the most joy out of it, right?
I mean, look at it. The smile is also epic.
Facts, 100%. Now, a lot of the other ones too, the cowboy that had Boyd, and they look like they got a lot of good out of it too. But it just shows me that there may have been a few people that, even though they went through with the sacrifice, they didn't agree with what they were doing, and she was one of them that probably feels trapped.
Is
Said
she
I agree.
is
There's
Jasmine the
remorse there.
only
Yeah,
one? Is she the only one we ever seen look like she had remorse? Because her name's Jasmine, I believe. Right?
her Jasmine. Yeah, yeah. I think she is. I think she is. I don't remember seeing any other buddy remorse, right? So she cleans up, she opens up the window, and then we get
Everyone
to,
walking.
ooh,
Who the
yeah,
hell is not paying attention?
what's that?
That one, no one's paying attention outside. Just look, hey man, look, all the monsters are circling around the house.
I know, bro. I know. And it's like this dude was just easy to go into a room. Nobody walked by. There's a
Yep.
huge party going on. Like nobody,
There's like
nobody
two
had to go
bathrooms in the
take a
entire
leak.
house. And you just tell me he's just in that bathroom by himself?
Nobody had to take a leak. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. So they have a conversation where it's basically like, oh, I need to be here, and then that's when she says, "Well, you said two cars hadn't come to the town on the same day, right? And what does that mean?" He says he don't know. You've been here the
He says
longest,
nothing. He just says nothing. He ignores her.
right?
So this is something I saw. I want to bring up, and I might be stretching it a little bit. You let me know if it's going too far.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. It's weird that Victor already has the escape route already set up.
Hmm.
Almost like he knew exactly what the hell's about to happen.
Facts.
Almost like someone told him what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I just thought that was weird that he already knew. So it's time to go. This is what we gotta do. You climb down
Future
first.
Julie.
Yeah, got me right there. Right. So
It
I was
makes
like,
sense.
who
Future
told him
Julie.
what would happen? Who else
Yes.
would be in that room that will
Yes.
know exactly that was happening?
Yes. 100%.
Only
Not
person.
to mention the fact that you said like he knew when the two cars came, something was going to happen. He said, "This is how it starts." He dug the graves, right? And if you really think about his history, he doesn't remember things properly, right?
But
It's
ever since, as she said, ever since you saw me, you told me that you remember a lot of the stuff.
yes,
So
yes,
she is triggering something in his brain, and that's why it makes me think
100%.
that he is the one. I mean, she is literally the one that told him about this stuff, but she doesn't
Agreed.
remember. And I think we're going to
Agreed.
go back and look at this stuff later and find out that Julie is the one that set him up for all the stuff, told him about all these things that are happening, and he's starting to remember it.
I
But it's
agree.
always been her. It's always been her.
I agree. I agree. Because if she's the one that told the Cooey kids the stories about the hope and stuff like that, right? Which would make sense because she's hearing stories from Ethan. Ethan is always telling stories, right? So who best to tell the Nkui kids about a story of hope, right? You know, oh, I got the story of hope, blah blah, this and that,
And
and
why
then
does
it
the
would go.
story that she tells the kids be the story of the Kramanako?
Yes, yes, exactly. Not to mention the fact that um Victor, who he does his drawings, right? He does his drawings and everything, but he doesn't remember things properly. But he knew, you know, that things were going to start. He knew where to take her, that he had to build this escape route. He may
Mhm.
not have known what was going to happen, but she may have given him a hint to listen. Something's going to happen in the colony house one day,
I
and you're
come into
going to
your
need to be
room,
ready.
you need to be ready to leave. That the
You're
night
going to
that
need to
I
be
come to
ready.
your room, you need to be ready to leave. You need to have an escape
Absolutely.
route first.
Absolutely. And the fact that okay, so we see Julie when she met Jim, she kind of looked different, right?
Mhm.
Maybe that's why he didn't realize it was her, right? He like still not someone helped him, but he doesn't know it's her because she looks older, she looks different. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Because she's been going back in time for so long. Who knows when she ends up being the one to go and talk to him, right? Or how old she is when she goes and sees him and helps him with the bodies and all of that stuff, because it's definitely not Eloise, and it's
It's just,
definitely not the boy in white.
and they gave us all these hints with when you have the rope, when
Yes,
throwing the rope down the boy. They give you all those hints so that she's doing a lot of these things. You can go back in time and realize that she's the one putting all this stuff together.
absolutely, 100%. So we get to the page part, brother. So Jade goes and looks at the book, and he
Yep.
sees, wait a minute, these two pages are stuck together.
Yep.
And then he opens them up, and we get the picture.
But it wasn't just a picture, guys.
Go ahead.
It's a Polaroid.
Yeah. Oh
Just
yeah.
I was just the opportunity to talk about Elgin. So it's not just a picture; it's a Polaroid
Facts.
again.
Facts. Facts.
Oh,
So did
I thought that was
someone take the picture, or did the Polaroid do it
funny. That
itself?
was the old picture of it. Oh man, I thought that was
Which
funny.
could be the reason why Christopher was like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Everything's a fucking lie. We got fucking Polaroids out here taking pictures with nobody touching it, which is exactly what Elgin should have done. The minute that Polaroid popped out a picture, he should have smashed it with a rock.
But to be fair, if that's the case, then Christopher killed everybody. Elgin only
Yeah,
tried to kill Fatima. That's it.
I
Yeah, he
agree.
only tried.
I agree. But
Christopher did kill everybody.
he still did some fuckery, though. You know what I mean? So it goes to show you that the Polaroid camera isn't there to help nobody. It isn't there to help nobody. And as it snaps the picture, Victor is in the background of that picture as well, right?
Yep.
So that's when they find out. I mean, they already knew Victor was there for that long, or maybe they didn't know he was there
Oh yeah,
that
he
long.
was there for a long time. Just don't know how long he was
How
there.
long he was there? Yeah, which is interesting. So she says Victor, and here we go. So they grab Trudy, right, and they kill her. And I guess I'll say it now because when Ellis walks into that room and thinks it's Fatima, he turns her over. I noticed that they didn't take out her organs.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the dude, the simp dude, they probably didn't take out his organs either.
He was torn up. He was just really, messed up. But I don't think they
Hmm.
took all his organs. They just really screwed him up.
Now, I don't really remember them other than the first episode. They didn't really kill any. Yeah, the first episode where they killed the dude in the shed, in the box,
Yep.
and
And
the
they
little
also,
girl's family and the
yep,
little girl.
his
So
family.
other
Yeah.
than that, yeah. So other than that, they haven't really eaten if they eat the organs since then. So I'm
So
thinking,
this is day 7
yeah,
because
yeah,
outside the sheriff's office it says how many days without a incident.
an incident,
It says
yeah.
7.
So I'm thinking they could probably go a long time without eating. They just need to eat to survive, but they could probably go maybe years without eating,
At least
maybe
90 days
centuries.
because literally they
Fact.
said Boyd had it for 90 days. Nothing has
Yes,
happened.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then between reincarnations could be like 40 years. You know what I mean? Like Victor was the only one there, so they weren't eating unless they stockpiled the organs somewhere and then ate them every now and then. You know what I mean? But other than that, so maybe they're not eating the organs. Maybe it's something else.
Maybe they just want to destroy, just tear up the body. Maybe they have to do that.
Huh. Interesting. I'm curious about that. So little blood drops, Elgin wakes up to screaming. There's a bunch of panicking going on. There's the
And
time
Victor
where
just said, "All right, let's go."
facts,
Wraps
facts.
around, ready to
Like
go.
we don't care about anything else that's going on here. And you see, that's the thing that
He
makes your point
He had the
so
rope already
valid,
ready, like rope ready. He understood exactly. He didn't have to open the door to figure out what's happening. He didn't have to
right?
worry about where to go, what's the
And
window, the safest place. None of
and he
that.
didn't care about anybody else but Julie,
Hmm.
right? He didn't say, "Oh, I need to help people," or you know what I mean, help people get out of. No, all he wanted to do was make sure that Julie was safe, which goes back to your little theory that Julie was the story walker and told him maybe not that you need to save me, but something's going to happen and you need to save the person you're with. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it doesn't
Like
matter
it's
because
very
now
important.
he didn't just tell her to, like, I saved your life. He told her to go first,
Yeah,
as in,
yeah,
like,
100%.
if I die, it happens, but
Yeah,
you need to go
you
first.
you have to survive 100%, 100%. So it just shows me that that might be a thing. So she's looking for Ellis. Donna's screaming. Everybody's going crazy. And then Ellis sees
Smiley. Oh,
Smiley.
it's Trudy, and he
He
thinks
sees
that's
Trudy. Yeah,
Fatima, and then he sees
yeah.
Smiley.
And then he sees Smiley. But I'm trying to get to the real question. This is the real.
Here's
Oh,
interesting.
I'm
So
I must have passed it. Go ahead. Go
do you
ahead.
know, so when she closes both doors, there's only one talisman.
Yeah,
There's 2 doors.
interesting.
Why did all of a sudden it work? There's one talisman, 2 doors.
I think it's just you as long as you're in a room, right? Because I, I went well, like after I watched this episode, I was watching a little bit more, and when Boyd finds the talismans, right? When Boyd finds them, there's not even a door. It's just like grass, and they still couldn't get in.
Yes, but then they're beating on the door.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
the
yeah,
hell is
yeah.
that lady? So I have a list of the known creatures we have.
Uh-huh.
We got the
Go ahead.
old lady creature. We got Jasmine. We got Smiley. We got the nurse creature. We got the mechanic creature. We got the waitress creature, who gives boy the keys to the ambulance. We
Mm-hmm.
have the cowboy creature, the librarian creature, the mob guy creature, the jock creature, the swing coat creature, the tough guy creature, the bride creature, the milkman creature, the cheerleader creature, the bearded creature, the beard person, the old man
Mm-hmm.
creature, and the professor creature. Who the hell is that?
Facts. Facts. And it's funny because we were talking last time we did the episode, we were talking about it. We're like, wait a minute, where does black woman come from?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Like, if this
Because
is in 1500s, where the hell was she at?
she she would have been cleaning the house and shit, or outside in the woods picking cotton. That's what
Like,
we know about,
she ain't got no
right?
tan. I mean, like, I don't understand. Like, it's just, I don't know, whatever. But she's not on the list of any other creature. And once again, I just named 18 creatures. The
Mm-hmm.
story tells you that there's only 7 couples.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
14.
Yeah.
Why have we got 18, maybe even 19 with her?
It's funny because I'm beginning to think that there may have been like whatever they did, and this is just my theory, is that it condemned the whole town, right? It turned everybody in the town into monsters. That would explain why you would have more than the couple of, right? You know, the two couples, the 14 characters, the 14 creatures. So it
Mm.
would explain why you have more. Either that, or they just didn't completely know where they were going with it and changed up a few things in season two.
I
Like
think that's what it
that
is. I think they didn't know what they're going to go with it. And then they realized, okay, we got to change this up. That doesn't make any sense. And no one's going to really care about this. But we do deep dives now, and now we care about every little thing. And
fact.
when you look at the picture of all these creatures, none of them are this one. I don't know who she is.
Facts. And we even brought up the last time where we showed the picture of all the creatures standing around during the rebirth, and it showed that there was the 14, right? The two
Mhm.
pairs of the 7 pairs. So all of a sudden now we have her. And then I was even like, well, what about the dude that said Julie, don't you remember me? And it
He's
was like, no, he was there.
Yeah, and he's the jock one, the jock monster.
Yeah, yeah.
But once
So
again, that's 18 when it's only supposed to be 14.
yeah, I agree.
So I
I
don't
agree. I agree. Definitely something there with that, but maybe this is a DEI.
know.
You know what
Oh,
I mean?
Lord.
I mean, they had to have a black creature, right? We got a bunch of black people in the show, so we gotta have a black creature, just to even it out. I don't know, but I think I'm with you. I think that maybe, you know, not to say that they didn't know where they were going. They probably did. They just refined it to the 7. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, no, this kind of makes more sense if we do it this way. But don't be surprised if whatever that 7 did condemned the whole town, right? That could be the reason why she has remorseful. Maybe she didn't even have a child, right? And just ended up and I'm talking about the Jasmine in the back, right?
Mhm. And
Maybe
she's just
she
happy
didn't.
to be there.
Yeah, right. And that's why she's remorseful because I didn't ask for this. You know what I mean? That's what she says. She says I was not always like this. Maybe she wasn't even the one that asked for it, but everybody that was in the town at the time got condemned to being a creature. You know what I mean? And
Good
it's
point.
also possible that only the 7 are able to reincarnate and come back, and the rest of them can actually die.
Ah,
You know what I'm saying? The rest
yeah.
of them can actually die. The only ones that have eternal life are the 7 that did the sacrifice, right? Which would explain why you would see creatures and then don't see them because the ones that never did it, they turned into creatures, but they can die, right? They're not immortal. So I don't know. That's just
Not part of the original story.
exactly. right? So since you're not a part of it, since you're condemned, but you didn't do the sacrifice to get immortal life. But what they did condemned you. So you can die, you can die, you can die, right? Now, there was one more thing, and I go back to it. When Simp Guy touches her, he says her body is warm,
Yeah, he does. Said, "Oh, it's warm."
right?
What'd you think it was going to be?
Exactly. Now, when we open up Smiley, we see that them organs are shriveled out. So the fact that they are warm means something as well. I just haven't figured it out what it is yet. But yeah, because
I mean, she
they're
washed
dead.
her hands. There's something different about her overall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they're dead, right? They are dead. So they should not be warm bodied. They got no blood flowing through their veins. Their bodies should not be warm. So I don't know. It's just I just think there's a lot more to them being creatures than not. You know what I mean? I really do. I think there's yeah, of course they're doing what they're doing because they're creatures, but there could be a lot more to them than just that, right?
Yeah,
Maybe there's a way to actually kill them with them not being able to reincarnate it. And I think we'll probably find out some information on that too as well. So
definitely.
Julie runs down and she don't know what to do. Victor comes down and boom, we see the boy in white.
We need to
And the
go
boy
this.
in white, he says, like, we need to follow this boy in white. Like, he doesn't say that, but he says, we need to go this way, right? Because the boy in white is leading them. And again, this is why I say, yes, the boy in white may not be all evil, right?
Mhm.
But there's just something creepy about him to where it's like, can
But he
we
didn't care
really
about
trust
everyone
you?
else's life. He only cared about, all right, these two people I need to see.
Oh, good point. He didn't, yeah, you're right. He didn't care about anybody else. And I don't think he even cared about Victor. He cared about Julie, right? He
Well, I
said,
don't
we
know.
got to go this way.
He showed Victor which way to go.
Yeah,
So, Julie might know the boy in white. The boy in white might teach Julie too. That might be more to it. There might be more to it from there. So I'm just saying he didn't care about anyone else, but those two I need to save.
absolutely. Not to mention the fact that Victor seen the boy in white, Julie didn't. So the boy in white can show himself to, because it's, so we know Christopher, Victor, and
Ethan.
Ethan seen the boy in white. So far, those are the only three people that have seen the boy in white, right? So it shows me that the boy in white can actually manifest to who he wants to manifest to, and he may end up manifesting
And
himself to Julie.
Tabitha too.
Tabitha seen it, yeah, right,
Yeah,
right, right. When she went to the real world,
yeah.
so it and that's a good
He
point
pushed her out
too.
the
That
window too.
yeah, he pushed her out the window, right? So that's a good point too, which shows me that maybe Julie didn't see him here, but he will manifest to her sooner or later, right? Give her some information or maybe guide her some way. Because when she's story walking for a while before she meets Eloise, because I don't think she meets Eloise right away. If she does, someone's gonna have to guide her, and I think it's gonna
Mhm.
be the boy in white that maybe guides her to Eloise, to where Eloise explains everything to him. You know what I mean? To her. So yeah, so we get to the point where this part you're talking about where they're stuck in the room. So what are your thoughts on this one? Because you're talking about the talisman.
No, because she said, I don't know, I'm gonna try something, and she's holding the talisman. Normally, when you put talisman on the door, they can't knock on the door. They don't beat the door down, anything. This time, they decided to go ahead and beat down the door. So I was
Hmm.
wondering, like, why? Why did that hold up? It shouldn't have held up. It almost should have had a talisman on both doors.
You see, I would agree with you on that time, but it seems to me like each house has one talisman, right? So
Mhm.
even if they have
And have a
a
back door
front,
too.
yeah, if they have a back door too, then it would probably protect that too as well. I just think for me, it's as long as it's an enclosed box, you're
Think
safe.
about the car,
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the, the RV.
The bus, the bus has a front
Mhm.
door, the back door. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's just the fact that as long as you're closed off in a square space or a box, it can't get in. Because even the tent, like,
The
it
tent.
shouldn't fucking work on a tent. You know what I mean? But it works in a tent as well. So yeah, yeah. I think it kind of makes sense that that happened. So yeah, he jumps out the window, and that's where they go. So yeah, she's holding it right there. I don't think she's actually holding it. I think she's like pretty much praying to
That's what
it
it seemed
at
like.
this
She was
point.
praying to it.
Yeah, praying that it
Yeah.
works.
Please,
Oh
please,
God,
please work.
please
Please
help
work.
me. Yeah, 100%. But she pretty much loses it in this scene. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
think again with the dream catcher stuff and everything you were talking about, I think once you maybe are in that state of, because they said she was always happy, she's always cheerful, right?
Mhm.
And I think this is the first time we've ever seen her break down. So it seems to me like once it breaks you, it's easier to get into your mind. It's easier to manipulate you. It's easier to do the things, get her pregnant. You know what I mean? So I think that's why there's this giving you hope and then breaking it, because once it breaks your hope, then it's able to do whatever it wants
Now
to
it's
with you.
inside you. Basically, it could manipulate you in as much as they wants to.
Absolutely. I really think that's the case. um so yeah, she's screaming that like you said, they're thudding on the door, and she's pretty much like, she said, how'd you know it was gonna work?
How do you know it's
And
gonna work?
she
Yeah,
said she didn't, but she thought about her father in the RV, and that's
mhm.
why she decided to try it. So says Julie, where are we going? There's another one here. So
A faraway tree.
that's
'Cause we
a
talked about the faraway tree before at the beginning of
right.
the episode.
So he says there's another one here. So that may mean that the boy in white led them past a few of them to lead to
To a
this one,
specific one.
to a specific one. So is it possible that there may be specific ones for certain people, right?
Well, not even just the certain ones are supposed to go certain places with the right person.
Yes,
You know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Miranda had to go through the right one to be able to get to the lighthouse.
Yes, yes.
You know, and
And
she
she
was
didn't
going
make
towards
it.
that, and Smiley took her out. That's why he
Ye-
knew which one she was going to.
Yes, exactly. And then Tabitha was taken to the right one. She went to the right one, which brought her to the, because again, if the, and we've established early that there's way more than one far away tree, right? And he's like, "Oh, you never know where it'll take you, or this and that." So yeah, maybe certain trees are just for the reincarnated people. Certain trees are for the story walkers. Certain ones are just for, I wouldn't say regular people, but people with a purpose. Because I don't think Boyd went through the same one that they went through either.
Mhm.
She said, I'm glad y'all still here. My kids are taking me away from my phone. Well, it's quite all right. We already know how that goes. You know what I mean?
We
So
definitely
it's
know. Yeah.
facts 100%. So no worries. Do what you got to do. We still here. Um, so said you have to find your brother and warn him.
Yeah.
Why? Why do
Mhm.
you need to find Ethan? You know what I mean? And
Who
how
told you that?
exactly? I was just about to say that. How would you know that she needed to find Ethan?
Hmm.
Because someone told you that, right? And again, we already know he said, "Oh, memories are coming back to me, when you thought it was a dream, and then all of a sudden." So it could be a possibility where this is something that may have been locked in his memory, and he may not know why he's doing it, but he knows this is what he has to do because someone told him, to find your brother and warn him. And then she gets to the tree, and she ends up in the same place
Yep.
Fatima had the baby.
Yep. Through the faraway tree, guys.
100%. So again,
Here's my question: why the hell did Julie not remember this place when they're looking for Fatima?
That's a good point. Well, okay, so I think it's because remember that door that Fatima was in was hidden behind a dresser, right?
Mhm.
They had to actually move it. So maybe she knew the place but didn't know there was that hidden room there, right? I don't think anybody knew about that hidden room until Elgin opened it up. Said Victor be hanging out in caves with the creatures. They're his people. He's been living with them for decades.
Someone had to feed him. I'm just saying. You might find out that he's like a pet.
There's definitely a reason why Victor was able to survive, even if Julie did come back, because she didn't stay with him the whole time. I really don't believe she was that like just there that whole time. Maybe because to be honest with you, since there's time travel, she could have stayed there for 5 years, and it would have still not changed the fact that you know what I mean.
But I think
So
she was doing too much stuff, so she might have been there helping him burying bodies, and she knows she could do it because it's already done. It's one of
right,
those. I know I could do something because I've seen the future and I saw me do it or seen it
yeah,
being done. So it's just
yeah,
me.
yeah, and I believe that she may have been going, helping him with the barriers and stuff, moving the cars, then leaving, say, I gotta go, you'll be fine. I'll come back and check on you. And then keeps every time she goes through, every now and then she comes back and checks on him. So we may see that she's checked on Victor maybe 3 or 4
Multiple
times
times.
in his life. You know what I mean? When he's a kid, then maybe when he's I don't know, 10 years later, then another 10, you know what I mean? So we may find out that she's actually seen Victor way more than once.
Every time she story walks, she probably goes through with him, making sure he's okay.
Absolutely, 100%. So we now Father Khatri, he said, you do what you need to do. They're talking about going so that you and they're talking about going out. And then boom, we have Donna coming in there screaming and yelling and going all crazy. And then we have Father Khatri.
Mm.
Boom. And that shit just came out of nowhere and slices his throat. And this is why I say when it comes to this show, once your story arc is gone, you're gonna
Run.
die. Yeah. Jim, Jim's story arc played out. Done. Victor's, it hasn't yet, and we thought it was going to at the end of the season, but maybe next season it will. You know what I mean? And
Hell
what
tells everyone about themselves, says I'm about to go be a hero, and done.
and then dies. Yeah, 100%. Keisha said, I agree. I think we'll find out that Julie did a bunch of pivotal things like throwing the rope. 100%. And I
Mhm.
think the throwing the rope and then going back to it to being Julie, not to mention that Martin guy hanging on the wall saying, Hey, Julie, right? Saying her name. So he's encountered her before as well. And the reason why Julie didn't know is because he encountered her future story
Mm.
walking self, right? She hasn't done it yet. So we're going to find out that Julie's going to story walk and she's going to meet this guy and he's probably going to tell her some information that is going to blow our minds.
Oh,
Trust me.
what if she's the one that left him there?
What if she's what?
The one who left there. She's the one. He was doing something. She trusted him. Then, like something happened, and she chained him to the wall and left him.
Possible. Possible 100%. Or maybe the reason why he's there is because he tried to protect her. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
yeah.
He could have probably tried to protect her and said, "No, you got to get out of here. Go, go, go now. I'll handle this." And we still haven't figured out or even showed us what locked him in there. Was
Yep.
it the
Who?
so
What?
right? Was it the which would make sense if that's where the man in yellow was locked up, right? The man in yellow was locked up there, and he trapped we would have to figure out how Martin got there to get trapped there, or was Martin there at the time with the Man in Yellow's original prime timeline, and the man in yellow just kept him alive for all that time, right?
Mm.
Because we don't know how far in the past that is either. So, that's interesting. I think Martin might be Randall. I think you're right on that one too. I think he could be too as well.
Because he has to
I
know Julie, well.
Yes,
And
yes,
Martin kind of does. I mean,
yes,
Randall would be the perfect person for that.
absolutely. Or it could be, well, I don't want to say the reincarnation of Randall, right? Because again, we don't know how long ago that happened. If you look at
Or
the
how far in
runes and
the future this is.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So it could be Randall. It definitely could be Randall. I could see that 100%. So they bring Dr. Khatri in, they do the prayer, and then Father Khatri dies. Uh, they do the prayer, Father Khatri dies. And yeah, I think that's the end of the episode.
That was it, man.
That was it. That was the end of the episode. I think I remember seeing this episode and I was like, yo, this was one of the best episodes of that season. I was like, oh man, it got to the point where it's like, okay, so anybody can die now.
Hey, I like you left it on this. Deliver us from
From
evil.
evil. Facts. Facts. And where are they? They're in an evil town, right? Now, since we talk a lot about biblical stuff, do you think maybe there could be something with prayers and you know what I mean that could help them? Maybe there's a reason why there's no Bible there. What do
I
you
think
think?
it's a balance. It could be something like they're playing. What if it's like Mortal Kombat?
Hmm.
And you have to win a certain amount of souls in order for it to work.
Interesting. I got you.
I mean, well, that's what I'm
So,
saying. Well, yeah, what you have the Archangel Michael, you have Lucifer.
hmm, hmm,
They're fighting over the souls of these people, and they each get to call out some.
I agree. I think you might absolutely be right there. Again, at the end of the day, I always say that this is a chess game, and I like your analogy of it, a chess game between the boy in white and the man in yellow. Said, I like the physiology thriller aspect of the show
Psychological.
and the mystery, but I hate the gore. Oh man.
It's a psychological thriller. It really is. It's a lot of stuff
Uh-huh.
going on, and but yeah, the gore.
But I love the gore. I love it. I'm not a poom poom like this guy down
You
here,
guys,
and my homeboy Danny. He
all
was
these
like, "Oh no,
Canadians
I
over
ain't
here.
watching no horror movies and blah blah blah." No,
Canadians. Look, because
give me the gore.
we know the devil's real. I, don't, I live in Chicago. I know what's going on.
Nah, give me the gore. Give me the blood. Give me the guts. You know what I mean? Chopping off heads and stuff like that.
I don't
I
know.
love it.
I love my head connected to my neck.
It unsettles my spirit. Exactly. Whatever, man. Just a stinking movie, guys. Come on now. It's like ketchup. That's what you're seeing on
It's,
screen.
it's
It's ketchup.
always from something.
Ketchup, Like for me, the gorier the better. Now I'm more of a I like jump scares and those kind of things more, but I love gory stuff.
You're
I
not gonna
love it
jump
when it's
scare
done
me, man.
right.
I walk around. I feel like I got mirror on my shoes. I don't trust people behind me all the time. I'm always looking around. I'm sitting on camera. I'm still looking around like every so often, and you never know.
Eh, so you got to be careful what you let into your home. Oh, 100%. Hey,
Listen,
listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I remember the first time I seen that movie, The Fourth Kind.
nope.
Oh yeah, I did not sleep properly that night at all.
I,
Right?
we unplugged all the TVs. All of
What's
them.
that?
Unplugged all the TVs.
If you guys don't know, The Fourth Kind is that they said it was supposed to be based on a true life story, but they ended up coming out that it wasn't. But it was about this woman whose kids got abducted and stuff, and the way they showed it, it seemed real, you know. So I remember when that movie was done, anytime I heard a little creak on the floor, because sometimes that floor creaks for no
Mhm.
reason. I'm like, what the hell was that? Turned on the light, like, what's that? You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. But
Yeah,
I
I
love
sleep
it.
with a knife in my nightstand. I always have a knife just in case. I don't know what I'm gonna do with a ghost and a knife, but whatever. That's what I do.
They call it a show program for a reason, but I'm crazy conspiracy theorist. So
No, I
yeah, no,
agree. They programming us. I'm telling you, man.
jeez. Oh shit! Did I say that? My bad. I got something in my throat there. You know what
All
I mean?
right, we'll see.
Pussies.
I'll take a plane. Well, take a plane over to see me then. Come take a plane over to see me then, huh?
I'll take a train. I'll take a
Oh
bus.
no,
You know
no,
what I
no.
mean? Okay, that's different though.
Planes and
That's
automobiles. No.
that's different though. You know what I mean? Like you want to call me up for being scared to get on a plane. All right, I get it. That's different though. I don't have to be scared of some crap I seen in a movie or a TV show. You
I'm
know.
not afraid of transportation, but we both have reasons to be afraid of both.
Whatever. Whatever. I just know the minute I get to a plane, that's just going down, and I don't want to be
And
part of
the
any of
minute
that.
I let my guard down, something's going to happen. So nope.
Wow.
That's what I'm always looking. You never know.
Oh shoot. That's all right. So I guess that's we can call it for that one. There wasn't really much. I think the next two episodes are we really get into the juice of it.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah,
I was looking a
definitely.
little bit earlier. I was like, crap, this is a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. I'm gonna definitely write down notes because I know that it's gonna be a lot. So I'm gonna watch it at least 3 times before we do the stream so that I have a lot of notes, and I think there's gonna be a lot of clues that we missed in those final 8, 9, 10, yeah, final 3 episodes. I think those are the ones where it really starts to get into some nitty gritty. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be something that we're gonna get into.
A lot of death.
Absolutely. Shout out your channel, Brian. Tell the people where they can find you, sir.
I'm 1/3 of Spoiler Kings. We go on live on Mondays and Thursdays, talking TV shows, anything happening in the media, Marvel, DC, all those trailer reactions and things. And then on Saturday, we go over Severance. We're doing episode 4 this Saturday. Cannot wait to see it. Severance is so amazing, man. I've been loving it. But From's still my number one.
Absolutely, 100%. Severance is definitely a good show. Silo's a good show. Really good shows. Check out the reviews for Silo. You know what I mean? Even though the season is over, but you guys can get some really good insight of what to come on that. Make sure you check out the Severance stuff. Come over here, check out the From stuff. Ooh, tomorrow night's gonna be a fire show because we're doing the OOC, and we are definitely going to be talking about the
Ooh.
tariff war between Canada and USA and how Donald Trump has a lot of these Americans gaslit into thinking that he did something when he did nothing. So
No
make
one
sure to.
believes it. Well, at least I don't know. I don't know anyone that believes it.
Oh, there are a few on there. You know what I mean? Did you read the Lexington
letter.
letter? No,
So I
I
have it
have
up
not.
on my screen right now. Actually, I'm looking at it. So I will be checking that out. I'll have it all read and figured out before our stream on Saturday.
And I'll check it out too as well. So maybe we can find some information on that. Let me just show this and say this one last time, guys. I just want to put this picture out there on the screen again for the people who are in Montreal, or if you have Facebook and you can share it, make sure to share it again because this is my good friend's daughter who has gone missing since February the 2nd, and she still has not been found. So I really hope that we can find her before it's too late. I didn't even want to say that, but I
No,
really hope we can. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I really hope we can find that. So, and Nakisha said it adds so much context
it
to the
does.
show. All right, so we'll definitely check that out. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that on the screen, for a few minutes before I play out the intro. But I want to thank you, everybody that came on. I appreciate it. We will be back next week with another banger of an episode. And these 2 episodes were good, the last ones we did, but we didn't really get like juicy information to kind of break down. But I think we'll have a lot more in the next couple of episodes. So I
These
want to
last
say
3 are crazy. What is it?
100%. 100%. You got the spiders, right? We didn't get to the spiders, the cobwebs, and
Ooh.
all. There's so much in the last couple of episodes. So definitely make sure you guys check that out. And once again, I'm gonna close it out. Thank you everybody for coming. Much appreciated. I'm gonna remove us from the screen to leave this completely on my stream for a few seconds before you see the outro. So thank you guys, everybody, again. Peace, love, and hair grease, and we will see you on the next one.
Everyone in this town has been exactly where you are right now. There are things you need to know about where you are. This is gonna be the worst night of your life. Do you believe in monsters?
Okay, there.
I was like, you
Okay.
frozen? I was like, man, you.
Me too. And I'm like, wait a minute. It looks like it